Hello everyone, myself Anush Sharma, and in this video I will talk about chapter 16 environmental issue of class 12th NCERT biology. So let's begin. When we talk about environmental issue, this environmental issue is important not only for the exam point of view but also as a general people we have to know what is happening in the environment. And when we talk about environmental issue, first is the pollution. Pollution is the any change in the physical, chemical, biological characteristics of air, water and land. Then we call it is a pollution. And agents which cause pollution are called pollutants. In India we have Environment Protection Act 1986 which talks about the improve and protection of the environment. First is the air pollution. Air pollution is the any undesirable change in the quality characteristics of the air. Now we all know that air pollution is caused by the atmospheric pollutants, industrial pollutants, and there are various instruments by which we can protect the atmosphere from industry by releasing these atmospheric harmful gases. First is the scrubber. Scrubber is mainly used for gases pollutant. In this is the water line spray. This water line spray wet the gases, and from the below there is entry of harmful gases. So all the harmful gases can stick on the walls of the scrubber, and a clean air passes there. Second is the electrostatic precipitator. This ESP, also called ESP, electrostatic precipitator, use of electricity. This ESP provides charge to the dust particle, and these dust particles stick to the walls, these wires, and the clean air passes. ESP is generally used for the particulates matter. Particulate matter are small size dust particle. This ESP has efficiency of 99%. Next, if we talk about a case study of air pollution, then Delhi government has installed DTC, Delhi Transport Corporation, that use CNG for the transport of buses. CNG is clean fuel because its efficiency high and almost cheaper than petrol. In India we have the Air Prevention Control of Pollution Act 1981 for the protection of air, and under this act CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, was established for the protection of air. Next is the water pollution. Water pollution is the any undesirable change in the water parameters. And when we talk about water pollution, then Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 is in the Indian legislation talks about the protection of water. And there are some parameters which are important in the water pollution. First is the dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen, DOD and COD. Dissolved oxygen also called DO. This dissolved oxygen is the amount of dissolved oxygen present in the water. All the aquatic organisms like fish, they use the dissolved oxygen for their respiration. And as the pollution increases, this DO will decrease, as you can see in this graph. And next is the BOD. BOD is the biochemical oxygen demand. This is the amount of oxygen needed by microorganisms to degrade organic waste present in the water. As the pollution increases, BOD increase. As the pollution increases, DO decrease. This is what the graph is showing. And another parameter that is used in water pollution is COD, which is not given in this graph. COD is the chemical oxygen demand. Chemical oxygen demand, when you talk about BOD, then only the organic waste, and when you talk about COD, that include organic plus inorganic waste. Next is the algal bloom. Algal bloom is because of the high excess growth of the planktonic free floating algae, and because of this algal bloom we have a foul smell coming from the water, and the water is look like yellowish. You must have seen this kind of water near you. Next is the biomagnification. Bio and magnification, two words. Magnification is the increase in concentration of toxic substance at each trophic level. We have a trophic level in ecology. So if a toxic substance is present in water at a low concentration, and then it moves to zooplankton, small fish, large fish and fish eating birds. So at each trophic level there is increase in concentration of toxic substance, you can see. And this phenomenon is known as biomagnification. This famous example of biomagnification is with the case of DDT. Indian government has banned the DDT. Why? Because this DDT biomagnify, and ultimately this DDT reach to the birds, and this DDT cause the thinning of the eggshell of the birds, and because of thinning of eggshell their population of birds decrease, and that's why the Indian government banned DDT. Next is the eutrophication. Eutrophication is the conversion of lake into a drain almost. This is eutrophication is natural process, but if eutrophication is happening naturally, then there is no problem. But the culture or the accelerated eutrophication right here, this is a dangerous thing, because this culture and accelerated eutrophication is happen because of human activity. That's why this eutrophication is harmful. This eutrophication is mainly occur by the phosphate and the nitrate pollution, and this cause of this phosphate and nitrate is the agriculture and industrial waste. Next is the solid waste. Solid waste is the any waste that we discard. This includes municipal solid waste, construction and demolition waste, agriculture waste, industrial waste. When we talk about MSW, municipal solid waste, they include the waste of house, office and store, school, etc. This MSW waste does not include agriculture waste and industrial waste. So solid waste minus agriculture waste, industrial waste is equal to MSW, municipal solid waste. You must have seen landfills. Landfills are the deposition for the solid waste. These landfills are of two types: secured landfill and unsecured landfill. Secured landfill is quite expensive and good, but unsecured landfill are cheaper, but they are not that effective in reduction of MSW waste, right? Next is the electronic waste. Electronic waste is the waste generated by the electronic gadgets like laptops, TV, phone, etc. This e-waste is quite toxic because it contains very harmful, even it contains some of the radioactive elements. Next is the agrochemicals. Agrochemicals are the chemicals that we have used in agriculture, like pesticide, insecticide, fertilizer. We have seen example of biomagnification in case of DDT. That is example of agrochemical only. A case study of organic farming. This man Ramesh Chandra Dagar is from Sonipat only. He has done organic farming. He does not give any kind of waste from his farm. It uses all the kind of waste in its organic farming. That's why there is sustainable farming he has done. Next is the radioactive waste. Radioactive waste is the waste generated mainly from the nuclear power plants. We have seen many nuclear power plant accidents like 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl incident. These are because of the nuclear plants only. Next is the most important, is the greenhouse effect and the global warming. We will understand this by this picture. So we all know that radiation from the sun are coming, and some radiation are reflected back by our earth. Radiation which are coming to the earth are of low wavelength, and radiations which are going out from the earth, they are of high wavelength. And there are some greenhouse gases which does not allow this outgoing radiation to go outside the earth. They will trap these gases and reverse back to the earth. These gases are CO2 and 2O. These gases are greenhouse gases because they does not allow this UV radiation to go outside. That's why this phenomena of trapping the UV radiation is known as the greenhouse effect. And because of greenhouse effect, there is an increase in global warming. Greenhouse effect is also present naturally, but at present this greenhouse effect is increasing because of human population. Because without a greenhouse effect, in Earth's temperature will be -18. But greenhouse effect is there. That's why the Earth's temperature is at present 15 degrees Celsius at the global level. This temperature is at the global level. Okay? So greenhouse gases like CO2, methane, CFC, N2, they contribute to the global warming. CO2 contribute highest, methane 20%, CFC 14%. We also need to know the sources of this gas. CO2 is mainly from the industry, methane is from the paddy fields, CFC is from the air conditioner, refrigerators, right? Next is the ozone depletion. So ozone is O3 gas. It present in the troposphere as well as in the stratosphere. In troposphere it is harmful, in stratosphere it is good because it protects us from the UV radiation. UV radiation are of 3 types: UVA, UVB and UVC. UVA are good because they form vitamin D in our body. UVB and UVC are harmful because they damage DNA, they affect our eyes. That's why this ozone layer is present in stratosphere, protect us from the UVB and UVC. And thickness of this ozone layer is measured in Dobson unit. So as the ozone layers become thicker, this thickness, as the ozone layer become thick, this is known as ozone hole. And there are several gases which are responsible for this ozone hole, like CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. This CFC is used in refrigerator air conditioner. So excess use of refrigerator air conditioner release CFC, and this CFC release chlorine atom. This chlorine atom came to the stratosphere and react with the ozone O3 and cause the thickness of the ozone layer. And this thickness of ozone layer, once reduced below 100 Dobson unit, then it is known as ozone hole. We must have heard about the Antarctica ozone hole. That's the same case, same reaction happened there. And if ozone hole happen, then UVB and UVC came to the earth and they will affect us. How? They will affect by DNA damage, they will affect our eye, inflammation, snow blindness, cataract. Okay. At the international level, we have a Montreal Protocol which is signed in 1987 and effective in 1989. This Montreal Protocol talks about the reduce in the CFC so that we can protect our ozone layer. Next is the soil erosion and desertification. Soil erosion is the movement of topmost fertile layer of soil from one place to the another. This soil erosion can be happen by air, water, etc. Desertification is the conversion of fertile land into deserts. Waterlogging and salinity. Waterlogging is the stagnant water, and because of waterlogging, soil salinity happen. Both this waterlogging and salinity is affect the soil fertility. Deforestation. Deforestation is the conversion of forest into non-forest lands. According to National Forest Policy India 1988, there must be 33% forest cover in plain area and 67% in hill area. What does it mean? It means that state like Haryana must have 33% of total geographical area under forest cover, and state like Himachal Pradesh must have 67% of forest area. But the situation is not like this. In Haryana, we have only 3% forest cover, and if you talk about India, that India is having 24.6% forest cover. So we have to increase this up to 33%. And there are various regions various techniques which are responsible for deforestation, and one such is slash and burn agriculture. This is also known as jhum cultivation. This practice is done in the northeast of India. What they do? They clear the forest, they grow their crops, and they left that area for 10 years, 5 years, so that the land again converted into a forest land. So we have to talk about reforestation, in which we plant more trees so that we can increase our forest cover of India and Haryana. So the participation of the local people is very important if you talk about the conservation of forest. And one such example is of Amrita Devi. Amrita Devi is in the Rajasthan. She done a great job for the protection of environment, wildlife and forest. That's why Indian government started Amrita Devi Bishnoi Wildlife Protection Award for the individual who perform similar kind of activity. And another example is the Chipko movement in the 1974 in the Garhwal region of Himalayas in the Uttarakhand. What they do? They hug the tree to protect it from cutting. And next is the Joint Forest Management. JFM is started by Indian government in 1980. This JFM talks about the involvement of local people in the conservation of forest. Now we see some questions from this chapter. First question talks about the domestic sewage constituents and effects of discharge in a river. So we have to talk about what the parts of the sewage and how it affects the rivers. It will increase the BOD, COD, and it will decrease the DO. So the aquatic organisms which are living there, they will die. Third question talks about global warming and needs to take on global warming. So what are global warming we have discussed, and how can we reduce it? We have to reduce the gases like CO2, methane, N2O. We have to reduce these gases. Fourth question talks about match the following. Column A has instrument and column B has pollutant. So catalytic converter is used for the carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide, and ESP used for the particulate matter. Earmuffs are used for the high noise level. Landfills are used with the soil waste. Question 5th talks about the eutrophication, biomagnification and groundwater depletion and ways of replenishment. We have discussed it. 6th is the ozone hole over Antarctica. We also discussed this. 7th is the role of women and community in protection of conservation forest. In this the Amrita Devi, Chipko movement, joint forest management, all these things comes. 9th is the radioactive waste, e-waste and MSW, we also discussed this. 11th is the greenhouse gases, catalytic converter and UVB. So I think I have covered all the aspects of the chapter. This video is only about the overview of chapter. I am not going in detail. This is just an overview of this chapter. Thank you very much.